It has been called the most dangerous thing the human race is currently facing. It is amongst you, inside of you, in your kitchen, at your grocery store, and in your stomach. GMOs are inside of 75% of the processed foods that we eat. After spending several months researching GMOs, I have come to one conclusion. Genetically modified organisms are not only safe, but better than non-GMOs. People have an unjust, damaging opinion of GMOs based on false accusations, when in fact, GMOs are well-tested, safe, and better for the environment. Consumers pushing away GMOs will result in multi-million-dollar losses and ultimately a crash of the U.S. economy. Americans need to realize that they have been eating GMOs for over 20 years and embrace them. 5 million children die a year from starvation and malnutrition. Only GMOs can save these lives. First, we will talk about the unjust, damaging opinion that people have of GMOs based on false accusations. People are generally undereducated about GMOs, causing a fear of the unknown. GMOs have existed since early times. For example, pollinating a zucchini plant that is drought-resistant with a plant that produces bigger zucchinis. This in itself is genetically modification. According to an article in Popular Science published in 2014, humans have been manipulating the genes of crops for millennia by selectively breeding plants with desirable traits. Virtually all of our crop foods have been genetically modified in some way. In a sense, GM crops are not a radical technology at all. Alison Young states in her article, in Natural Health published in 2012, genetic material is taken from one organism, such as a plant or a bacteria, and inserted into another plant or organism to transfer a desirable trait. People also think that genetically modified organisms are unnatural. According to Melissa Diane Smith's article in Better Nutrition published in 2012, the U.S. federal government considers GM crops substantially equivalent to other crops, such as organic. People are also under the impression that GMOs are bad for the environment, when in fact, genetically modified crops have actually proven to be better for the environment. According to Graham Brooks in his article published in GM Crops and Food in 2013, the adoption of the technology has reduced pesticide spraying by 474 million kilograms, and as a result decreased the negative environmental impact associated with pesticide used on these crops by 18.1%. Due to the fact that GMOs are genetically modified to be weed-resistant, there is less of a need to spray pesticides, reducing the carbon emission from farming equipment. Graham Brooks also states that this change in the production system has reduced levels of greenhouse gas emissions from reduced tractor fuel use and additional soil carbon sequestration. Another misconception is that there has been little testing done on GMOs. This is simply not true. Linda Marsa, author of an article in Discover published in 2013, states that the FDA has ruled that because DNA is in every living thing, crops engineered with added genes are substantially the same as other foods and are no different from organic crops modified through conventional breeding techniques. GM crops and food don't differ from other foods in any meaningful way. Along with the FDA, the National Academy of the Sciences, the World Health Organization, and the American Association for the Advancement of the Sciences have all established the safety and the integrity of genetically modified organisms. Next, let's talk about the negative consequences that will result in abandoning GMOs. Consumers are currently pushing away GMOs, and this will result in a multi-million-dollar loss and ultimately a crash in the U.S. economy. There has been a huge push to label genetically modified organisms in grocery stores. I think this is a good idea. If this happens, consumers will finally see how much of the food that they eat currently contains genetically modified organisms, proving that GMOs are safe. According to Graham Brooks in his article published in GM Crops and Food, published in 2013, 15.4 million farmers use GMOs. Melissa Diane Smith's article in Better Nutrition published in 2012 states that by 2011, 94% of all soybeans and 88% of all corn grown in the United States has been genetically modified, thus making up 75% of all processed foods. The U.S. crop industry is currently a $120.6 billion industry, according to Brian Wingfield's article in Bloomberg published in 2013. A flip of this industry will crash the U.S. economy. According to Susan Johnson's article in Sustainable Development Law and Policy published in 2014, GMOs dominate the domestic crop market. Finally, we will talk about how GMOs can save the world. 5 million children a year die from starvation and malnutrition. Only GMOs can save these lives. It is time to accept the good that can come from genetically modified organisms. An article in Popular Science published in 2014 states that the world will add 2 billion more people to its population by 2050, reaching 9.7 billion. The world already cannot feed all of its people. According to Jennifer Clapp in her article published in 2014 in the Journal of International Affairs, hunger remains a serious global problem. Over 840 million people in the world are chronically undernourished. But due to the manner which hunger is measured, this figure may drastically underestimate the actual problem. Genetically modified organisms are the only way the world can provide ample support to its growing population. Arthur Caplan states in his article published in 2013 in the Chronicle of Higher Education, the only path toward a continuous supply of a variety of foods, more nutritious food, cheaper food, and environmentally friendlier agriculture is the genetic modification of crops and seeds. Altering genes, which has been going on in medicine for many years, is a powerful tool against disease, and it has to be deployed in the same way in the plant world. Examples of this have already taken place. A new type of rice has been developed specifically to combat world hunger and malnutrition. Susan Johnson says in her article in Sustainable Development Law and Policy published in 2014, golden rice is fortified with the vitamin A beta-carotene. It will save countless lives and combat world hunger, malnutrition, and disease on an unprecedented global scale. Beta-carotene is a powerful nutrient found in fruits and vegetables, such as carrots, sweet potatoes, and spinach. Beta-carotene is an antioxidant that strengthens the immune system, protects and improves vision and dental health, and delivers cancer-fighting antioxidants. Millions of people in Africa and Asia who lack this nutrient die annually from diseases which they would not otherwise die from. After looking at the unjustified damaging opinion of GMOs based on false accusations, the possible economic crash and multi-million-dollar losses due to the rejection of GMOs, and the 5 million children that genetically modified organisms can save each year from death, it is very clear that genetically modified organisms are not only safe and well-tested, they are environmentally friendly and have the ability to end world hunger.